Nice to have you with us on a Wednesday afternoon as we chat to you about the world of sports on this 4th day of April, 2018. Yours truly, of course, Christopher Russo, as we begin a broadcast day here in a great SiriusXM 82. Billy Zimmerman is still on vacation. That means I've lost Eddie Erickson. He's in the house right now, thank goodness. And, of course, Colin Schmeling. Matt is here, our trusty Penn State interns, on a nice job throughout the whole fall, the whole spring. Steve Torrey's finished breaking down Patriot football for the last hour and a half as we chat to you. And the Giants are not trading no dough to the Patriots because John Mara wants to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and he's not giving them Beckham. I don't know if they went into that, but they're not going to do that. So keep that in mind there. He might trade Beckham for a higher first-round Buffalo, but not to the New England Patriots, and Belichick ain't going to pay him. So keep that in mind, Steve and Danny Cannell, as they break down and do some sports here. And, you know, Steve was not going to go to the Masters. Steve's never heard of Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas, so he would not going to break down that Masters for you. Steve's just trying to, in his head, figure out what that par 3 looks like on 18. So from that perspective, he'll let Danny take care of that tomorrow as we move it along. I'm going to take care of that right now. We got a busy show today, too. We have Nobilo early today. Look forward to that. Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning, the Gator. He will join us in studio. He has a neat little book out, My Life in Pinstripes. We'll talk to Ronnie that in about for a half hour or so, that about 4 o'clock today. And a little later on, we're going to talk to Hampton Sides. Sides, of course, wrote a lot of great books. Ghost Soldiers, one of the great books you'd ever see about the Bataan Death March in World War II. Kingdom of Ice, about the trek to Antarctica. And Hellhound on His Trail. That's the Martin Luther King book. And today is the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King. And with Sides today, we will spend most of the afternoon just on the actual day of the assassination and give you guys a little history lesson about that night at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. So we got a lot going on the busy afternoon. We'll have a little, we'll do a little of this and a little of that, and we'll take you home. I did see Mr. Mike Devine last night, and not pleased that I said in '86, or that Fred Couples did at the Masters. He, of course, the scratch in the whole 9 yards. So some laughs there. Lots to do on a busy afternoon as we talked about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned. Well, the Masters is upon us, and basically 16, 17 hours, 19 hours, 17 hours. We're getting that first tee. I think it's just Nicklaus and Palmer. Nicklaus and Gary Player. I don't think they've added a third with the passing of Arnold Palmer a couple of years ago. They will tee off with that ceremonial deal early with the first tee shot on number 1, and then I don't know what time the first foursome is. Matter of fact, Eddie, if you have the foursomes, send them out to me so I have a little better feel. I know where everybody is. Dustin Johnson late, Tiger a little early. We all know, of course, where Phil is at 1:15 or so, early afternoon. And away we go now, Masters 2018. You have a lot of players who can win this event. I mean, I did a Masters pool today at my little workout place. They do it in such a way where, you take 6 players from 3 different groups, all basically based on money earnings, and you do it with the odds, and you take a player from this group, player from that group, a long shot, and then you look at the money scenario, and the winner, based on the total amount of money, wins the whole pot. And, you could take 15, 20 players here to win this tournament and have no qualms whatsoever. You could take Henrik Stenson. You could take, Jimmy Walker. You could take Bubba Watson. You could take really anybody, Charles Schwartzel. You want to, Louis Oosthuizen, whatever his name is, you could take him. You want to go out there and take Brian Harmon. You could take anybody that you want to win this event. This is as wide open as Masters, and I'm not even a golf expert per se, but this is as wide open as a Masters as you're ever going to see. I mean, I think we all know the top 10 guys that we think the winner will emerge from. That's probably Phil. You'd have to put Tiger in there. I wouldn't make him the odds-on favorite as Vegas did, but you have to put Woods in the mix. Obviously, Johnson, Spieth, Jason Day, Justin Rose, Thomas. You'd have to put John Rahm. You'd have to put some of those folks in there. I mean, if you look at, you'd have to, Paul Casey's won a tournament this year. You got to consider him as a possibility. There is a lot of guys on here. I'm trying to think. I like Jimmy Walker to have a decent tournament. Patrick Reed, you got to consider as a possibility. You get the basic guy: Ricky Fowler, Kuchar, Adam Scott, McIlroy. I mean, the list is. I like Alex Noren to have a good tournament. He's had a good year. I mean, there are a million guys here who you can take a peek at. The first real legit group out with a shot to, be big factors. Ryan Moore is early, 841. He's obviously a guy you'd have to consider. He plays early. Daniel Berger, 936, you'd have to consider. Harmon's at 925. You'd have to give him a puncher's chance. Molinari and Perez are at 947. Willits won this tournament before, so has Duffner's won a major, 958. Matsuyama, Paul Casey, 1009. Zach Johnson, Keimer's won a major, 1031. Couple of them. Tiger, Leishman, and Fleetwood at 1042. Garcia won it last year. I mean, it really is a tremendous event. Now listen, Tiger gives it the pizzazz, and let's call it like we see it. I mean, as McManus told us a week ago Friday when he broke down the tournament for us, he said all these guys, they do a decent job rating-wise. Mickelson gives it a little bit of an uptick, but what makes this tournament special in 2018 is the Tiger Woods story. I mean, it's the saga of Tiger. I think the book actually helps from that standpoint, to be quite honest with you. He's had a very, very good year based on his health and what you could have expected. He made 3 cuts in the 4 tournaments. He was in the mix on Sunday in 2 of the 4 tournaments. I mean, there really isn't much you could. He only played 4 times now: Tampa, Orlando, and obviously Los Angeles, and he played San Diego. I mean, you really can't expect, if you wanted to root for Tiger, you saw enough in the early part, late winter, early spring, to make you think that he's got a puncher's chance. I mean, and if he's in the mix, it gives it an extra shot of adrenaline. And I don't think this tournament needs that much adrenaline anyway, but if he's in the mix, it's going to bring the average fan to the TV set. I mean, this is an event. Here's another way to explain it. I think the average golf fan who pays attention to the golf with the 4 majors, he doesn't even watch the Ryder Cup because it interferes with his football, but it pays attention to the 4 majors, the first 2 specifically, because golf, unlike tennis, whose best 2 tournaments of the year are at the end, Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, golf's 2 best tournaments of the year at the beginning, the Masters and the U.S. Open. And most casual golf fans probably will check out at times, in the late summer on. They keep an eye on the PGA. That's why they're moving to PGA. They're not watching the FedEx Cup. I mean, the Ryder Cup every 2 years, maybe. They're not watching the President's Cup. And they also are the sort of casual fan that will make it their business to be there Sunday, Masters. Make it their business to be there Father's Day, U.S. Open on a Sunday, but may sit there and say, you know what, I'll keep an eye on it. I'll look at my phone and see what the scores are. If I see a little Saturday or Thursday and Friday, I'll be happy. But, Sunday is my day with the Masters. That's what most people who are casual sports fans think. And, the good golf, the pretty decent golf fan watches all 18 on Sunday. The casual golf fan, and I'll put Torrey in the mix, watches the last 7, 8 holes on Sunday. I mean, that's a job. Steve will put it on at 4:30 normally on most years. Eddie Erickson put it on 4:30, 5 o'clock most years. Most years, Eddie will. Now, Eddie now is involved in the show a little bit more, so he'd be a little more wrapped up in it. But Eddie on Sunday, historically, would put it on 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. This year, it's different. And the best way to explain this year at the Masters is say to yourself, okay, where am I going to make this appointment TV? I think a lot of people this year who generally would just be there on Sunday now will make it their business to be there on Saturday. And I look at that as the turning point. Thursday and Friday, you catch as catch can. All right, it starts at 3 o'clock. It's only on for 4 hours. They have it on at night when you get home, but it's hard to watch that golf on tape delay at night. They replay it. So, I mean, you might want to do that, but I think most people will get the scores all day. And, at 10 o'clock, I don't see him putting on the Masters to see how Tiger finished at 6 under when they know he's at 6 under. So, I don't know if people will do that per se. It's a good way to catch up, catch here, catch there. But for the most part, the guy who works every day, wherever he might be, driving home, I don't think he's going to do that because he's going to follow the day. He's going to follow it on his computer. He's going to follow it on his phone. He's going to follow it a little bit on ESPN. He's going to follow it if he's listening to a radio show. Now he's got the PGA channel over on Sirius. He's got that. Hopefully he looks at us. We try to give you a little update. So from that perspective, he's on top of it. I'm not sure if he's there Thursday, Friday. Normally that casual guy says, you know what? Saturday is, I got chores. I got this. I got that. Maybe if he lives in nice weather, he wants to play golf. He doesn't want to sit there back-to-back days on a weekend, giving up 4 or 5 hours. Watching golf and watching it properly, that's a 4.5-hour day. That's a lot more than a football game. That's a lot more than catching 2 innings in a ball game, or the fourth quarter in an NBA game, or a second half of an NCAA tournament game. No. You got to sit there for a long period of time. This year, that guy's going to do that on Saturday, and that's why it's a big event because you got Tiger in the mix. Now, I don't think Tiger will win. I think Tiger will make the cut. I think Tiger will be a factor. I think Tiger will be, what's the best way to explain it? Lurking? How's that for a word? I think he will be doing that. I think he'll be on the fringe of the leaderboard. But I don't know if you can ask Tiger to win this event. I think it's fair based on what we have seen in the couple of months, and I'm basing this on his back holding up. I think it's fair from what we have seen to think that Tiger has another major in him in the next 3-4 years. I think it's fair to say that. I don't know where. You'd have to tell me the course, how it fits. I still don't like his driving. I'd be worried at Shinnecock. You hit the ball in the fescue, you're dead. And I could see Tiger having some that's long, windy. I mean, I'm not sure about that. British Open is what it is. He's won it a million times. And he's creative. And he can hit lots of 3-woods with all the rolls and everything like that. Got good iron play, stays away from bunkers. But so I think he's going to win one again. I don't think his career is going to stop at 14. I don't think he's going to get to 19, but I don't think it's going to stop at 14. But I think it's asking a little too much to expect Tiger, who hasn't played the Masters in a while, who hasn't won a major since 2008, all right? The last time Tiger won a major was, if you listen to this show, I wasn't even here yet. Wasn't even here. Wasn't on the air here. That's the way I judge it. That's 10 years now. So it's a little hard to expect him to go out there and win this tournament. Now, he's the great competitor. He always plays well here. He will be lurking. But I'm not sure if I can expect him to win a tournament. I don't like McIlroy to win a tournament either, because I think a little bit like the U.S. Open for Sam Snead, a little bit like the U.S. Open for Bjorn Borg in tennis, I think McIlroy's a little spooked by the Masters. And, maybe one day he gets it, he wins it, because he's young and everything else, but he had that unbelievable 40 on the back nine, whatever it was, when he had the tournament won a few years ago. I'm not sure if McIlroy, the greens are brutal. I'm not sure. I know he's had a good year, had a great tournament in Bay Hill. He's primed. I'm not buying that either. Now, I don't know where to go to pick a guy. I don't know where to go. I wouldn't pick Spieth. He's won it a couple times. I love Bubba Watson now. He plays great at this place. I wouldn't rule him out. I don't know who to pick, but I'll start the program by saying this. There's 12 to 14 that could win it, and I don't think Tiger will, and I don't think McIlroy will. How's that? 18 after the hour. Get your calls in. Plenty of them. No below shortly. Mad Dog Unleashed.